So today we want to talk about why we think Shopify apps are a great way to build some passive income, some passive revenue streams, and why we think this infrastructure is or ecosystem is like a great thing to consider and to look into. So I think maybe I can start by sharing what Shopify apps are overall, and then we can actually go into what we know about this thing overall. So basically, we've been looking into building Shopify apps as a sort of a side hustle to what we're doing full time. A great way to think of Shopify apps would be just as an add-on to the CMS of what a platform for an online store can do. And if you just log into the Shopify and create a new store, you would have some functionality that is pretty much enough to do online sales, but this would actually not be sufficient to do everything that you can imagine. And Shopify apps are the add-ons that actually help add some functionality to the website, do something more than what is the standard things that the merchant would have. So I guess I can show a couple of examples of what I found as the test apps. So I'm doing it all on the test store, and this is maybe something that Ivan can actually comment on later on. So this is the basic boilerplate Shopify app that is created whenever you just install a Shopify, like the basic app. And if you, on the left side, we would have a menu of what the merchant can do. And with all the features that exist there, if you want to test the designs of the store and you haven't started yet, a good starter way to add some products to the website would be to just generate some of them through the Shopify app.
Which is quite a new feature, actually. I remember a couple of years ago doing this. You had to add them manually and so on. So this alone is good when testing it out.
Yeah, exactly. And this is actually like a template prepared by Shopify. So this is not something that is developed on top, and with a click of a button, you just generate more products that you see in your app. And then if you go into creating some maybe just adjusting some design of the website or creating some listings of the products, this is what can get you started. In terms of how the apps can look like, they can be actually also very, very complex, such as this one. You see it is also an embedded app that loads directly into your admin panel. But what we just saw is that it redirects you first to its own domain to go through authentication. And now this app allows you to work on all sorts of marketing things. It can let you set up the pop-ups. And what we see right now is actually quite weird, because typically we see Shopify apps being of two types. One, the embedded apps, which live inside your admin panel, and the other ones, which are standalone websites where you can do all kinds of settings in a separate app from your website. And this is what we see right now. We are on a separate page, which allows us to do some settings. But if we click back, we just go inside our Shopify store, where we actually also can do all the same things, but without leaving the Shopify ecosystem.
And I think it's one thing to think about is I think the one you showed now is they built a product probably, right? And they're using Shopify App Store to reach out to customers. So I see that two different approaches to this, where the first one is that, and also the one we've been doing, where you built a product that you needed yourself. And then we were thinking about, okay, how can this reach a bigger market? And then Shopify App Store becomes that channel to the market. But the other approach, and that I tried a couple of years ago, is to actually then look at, okay, what exists already, and try to find the product from that. So looking at the Shopify App Store in this case, but any like marketplace in general, and seeing, okay, what could there be a demand for, but where the competition is not so big already, so we could find a gap in the market that way. I wanted to share just and have a look at the App Store, but you need to allow me to be able to share, it says 𝙎𝘎𝘎𝘎.
Oh, yeah. Of course, that happens on the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It always happens, actually. It's just natural. So yes, just to show how it's structured, before looking at it a bit, I want to go through like what kind of analysis we did and how I think this could be approached. So we can see here in the App Store, there's 7,600 individual apps now, and just I looked at what we did like 2 years ago. There was 4,500 roughly, so you can also see how quickly it is growing and has grown, which could of course mean that the competition, or it does mean that the competition is more fierce. So I guess there will be some breaking point, and especially in some popular categories maybe, where it will be too hard now to compete and to come in as a new player. And that's why I think this type of analysis of what's in there is a good idea, no matter if you have an existing product or if you want to find like a gap. And then it's structured into these different categories, so everything related to store design, and then there are like sub categories, and you can also filter it, see how many are free, which is interesting also. Yeah, so 4,500 at least have some sort of free version, so more than half of them. And that's a very common pricing strategy also, to have a free version to get in users, and then to have some functionality that is paid. So 3,000 only have a paid version.
Yeah, but also some sort of a trial, right, in the beginning.
Yeah. Probably.
So actually, to respond to like the increasing number of apps that are out there, I actually, like when I was looking for some samples to show today, like of what apps are existing, like some of the searches give you like really, really many apps. Like, so you can actually see that for some specific feature right now, there can be like 50 apps doing the same thing. And like from one side, it can be hard to pick, but like on the other hand, this is kind of a way to look into what is more or less dense in terms of like the competing developers for that.
Yeah, that's a very good way. Also, there's no like, I mean, with Google you can get more information on the search volumes and so on. It's harder here, but you can of course just search and see what shows up, which is very good information also. That also becomes an important part, like the App Store search optimization. That's a bit later step.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share then this very nice looking Excel sheet just to show how we approach this. So what we did actually, we scraped the whole App Store to get all of the information about the different apps. So we have 7,600 records here, but that is because a lot of the apps are listed in several categories. So these are the categories and the subcategories. We have their position, and this is always a one. The name of the app, the link, how many reviews do they have, how many new reviews, which I think is like last 30 days or something, and the rating of the app. So all of this information was possible to get just from the App Store. So what we wanted to do with this was to find like what categories are the most interesting. So we did some calculations, took all the categories, checked how many apps are in each subcategory it is, how many reviews in total, how many new reviews, how many reviews on average then per app, how many new reviews, how many reviews does the app with the highest number of reviews have, what is the average rating, how many times more reviews does the app with the most reviews have compared to the average one, to find some sort of, okay, are they all in one, or is there one that has sort of taken the market?
So like an outlier,
with
right?
The new reviews.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Just like to see the outlier, the top single performer is if it's like the single app that drives the category, right? Compared to like if there's many of them.
Exactly. So yeah, what we wanted to find is like rather, of course, someone with not as many apps, but also not where there's one like that has, if we look somewhere here, so here we have one with 5,540 reviews, and that's probably a very strong category leader then. That's going to be hard to compete with, compared to here where it's 125. So we see the bigger one has 3 times more than the average one, and that could mean that it's easier to get into that category and compete because there's no one really owning it so far. So then we did all of these different types of comparisons and analysis, and we sort of found which categories were the most interesting, and that's the ones with the highest number of count here. So like these, we found what we did then was to go into those categories specifically, looking at all the apps there and more of a qualitative approach. So then we also did some things like you said, like just searching for it and so on. But to find like from these categories, I guess there's like maybe 50 subcategories or something, trying to find the ones where there could be the biggest opportunity. And then of course you still need to go in there and find your idea. You can't just copy something. You have to at least do something better than someone else is doing. So that's one approach to take. I think we found a couple of nice ideas, but also we actually did never launch them. So that's of course very important step also to be able to build and launch those that you identify.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And how did you scrape it? Like, do you remember? Was it just like parsing the web of it, or like what was done?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember exactly what we did. I think Ivan can answer that. We've done some stuff like that. That's usually quite easy, right? If you want to get information somewhere from the web.
Yeah, I think we just scraped all the Shopify catalog endpoints or something like that.
Yeah.
It was, just a standard like procedure when you want to parse any website and go to the paging. Page by page, and categorize the results.
And there's some more stuff you could get, like the pricing and so on, but we focused on these things also for the easier format.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, that sounds interesting. So of course, I think the main point still at the end is like to come up with an idea of what is actually needed, which you will not see on these pages of the apps themselves. And I think those can actually come either from a personal need, which was my case with the app that I'm trying to launch. This was something that I had to build for myself, but then also maybe just based on some trends reports of what's actually happening in marketing, in e-commerce, and what is needed, because even Shopify has this annual, I think it's annual, it's called the Future of Commerce, which is like Shopify's research that you can that you can Google and watch what's going on there, and what could be the ideas to follow.
And actually also from the reviews of the other, you can see most of them will like the app, but they could still write some love the app, but it would be great with XYZ, and that could be an opportunity to fill that need.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess we can move to more of the technical opportunities. So what are the limitations of or the opportunities of what can you actually build with Shopify? So basically the way it works is that as you build something that's the admin panel is what you can control, and it can look whatever you want but then you get to connect to Shopify APIs to do something with the store, right?
Yeah. I checked the latest Shopify API and some tools they provide to build like any kind of applications. And I was pretty surprised actually, because like last time then when I checked the Shopify like APIs and what they have, it was like several years ago, and it was like quite different. Right now they try to improve like the whole aspects of the DX, developer experience, and I was surprised how easy you can start with the development of any applications, even if you are not an experienced developer. You can just use the awesome CLI tool that's like tooling that you can use in your terminal, Windows, macOS, and everywhere, which would bring you the skeleton, the bootstrap application that you can use like right from from your local computer. But also I want to mention that they have a very great documentation with the nice tutorials, with step-by-step instructions that allows you to build a super simple apps. But also, if you dig further, you can understand that you have access actually to any aspect of the admin side. You can control basically anything, as you showed, Kostya, that you can build like the tiny applications that could just count the amount of your products, or you can build like a full-scale web apps that even live in a separate application, separate tab. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Also, besides the Shopify has different layers of APIs. They allows you like to control the admin part, right? So maybe enhance the experience, what you can control, do some calculations for you on the admin part. And also they allow you to control what customers see and improve their experience. And these improvements could be also pretty different. So you can modify the Shopify templates, like basically HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript to make it like maybe better, provide more information. And also you can do some kind of like smart subscriptions to the customer's actions, right? So if customer added something to the order, we can react on that action depending on the customer information and, I don't know, provide a discount or provide a gift or something like that. There's a lot of opportunities they provide, and again, everything wrapped in a very nice API and the tooling set that you can use. Actually, they have, as I mentioned, they have two layers. Actually, there are more layers, but the main two layers is admin API, which allows you to control API admin side, and storefront API that allows you to control the client-facing functionality. And this storefront API actually, it's pretty cool that it is compatible with the old versions with the Shopify UI, and allows you not to operate directly on the text and layout, HTML layout, but it allows you to just embed some script tags directly to the page and do your stuff there. So it's like an old way to manipulate the HTML and the front end of your application, but it still works with the legacy Shopify apps, which actually good that allow you to cover more merchants, more customers, right, that would use your application.
So that basically means that you don't need to worry if the merchant's website is set up in some like different way or in some outdated way, right? It would be kind of supported like backwards as well.
It won't be supported automatically, but there is some tooling and APIs that would allow you to support that kind of guys as well. Yeah. So you have this possibility, and if you want, and you see that like a lot of customers, they are using like a legacy templates or legacy, I don't know, set up, you can cover them as well. That's just a very brief introduction what you can do there, but there is an unlimited possibility what you can do there. You can control, as I mentioned, literally all aspects of the website, both on the front end and back end. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, cool. And I think they have developed a lot on that side last year or last month even.
Yeah, they worked a lot on developer experience. One thing that I was very surprised how the CLI tool is built. So basically it goes through the step-by-step instructions, and on every step, if there is a very descriptive hints what you need to do next, how to set up your environment. They even provide you some automatic tooling to connect your local machine, so you don't have to use any dedicated servers or something like that. You can use your local machine and connect to the Shopify store, so you can see on the store the changes that you are doing on your local machine. So this connection is automatically established for you, and you can debug and develop in real time and show what you've done to your friends or colleagues. That's pretty awesome.
So I think maybe that's also important to mention, the way it actually works. So your app outside of the Shopify store or outside of some Shopify environment, it doesn't really make sense. So it's not even really possible to test whether something works or not completely locally. So you do have to always connect to Shopify, install it on the test store, and so that you can at least see if it does what it should do. Because otherwise, even the interface wouldn't load locally, because for that to load, you should work with authentication process to make sure that there is some connection established to the Shopify, to the Shopify platform itself. But actually, I know a little bit of the story of the Shopify CLI. So actually, while I was developing the app myself, over the last year and a half, I was using one of the just existing external libraries that you have for Laravel, for PHP. And that library was built for connecting to the Shopify platform, to connect to APIs, to work on all the authentication, because this is something that some super beginner like me, not a developer, this is something I know nothing about, and having some automated connection is what basically saves me and helps me to do anything. And now this there was some trouble with this library to work on some of the latest aspects of Shopify, but now all of a sudden I actually see that this Shopify CLI is built on top of this library, and it looks like they brought in the developers of this library to build the Shopify own CLI setup for the developers. So it was really good, but it was external. It was with some troubles that you would have to go through forums to figure out. And now they kind of brought it internally. So, and one thing that is a little bit lacking, probably because they are making a lot of the changes in recent months, is actually you have this step-by-step guide onto how to install this CLI, the Shopify app through CLI. Then you have a thorough documentation of the APIs of Shopify, which is on the Shopify platform. But this boilerplate app itself is not super well documented into what's kind of the logic inside. So you know that this is front end, this is the back end, but how things are connected in between it, this is something that it's probably just so new that they haven't worked through documentation very well. But this is interesting to see how they are they internalized this work on the apps, and maybe that will even boost further the development of those.
Yeah, I agree. You have a skeleton of this application, boilerplate code, and everything works from scratch. But This is basically the React.js application with some like middlewares and some backend, like server-side rendered code. And yeah, for the most part of the application, everything is like makes sense and it's clear like what to do and how. But yeah, I agree with you. It would be nice to have a tutorial or the documentation for beginners.
Yes, and there's like a lot of this content you can find even on YouTube. But if it's from 6 months ago, it's already outdated. It's like it's built on just before the CLI was launched, or when the CLI was launched, it also looked a little bit different. So it's it develops super quickly. So I guess maybe the last point that we need to cover is actually the submitting procedure of how do you get the app to be on Shopify. So for the beginning, they have changed the way you work with Shopify as some sort of entity, as a developer or as a company. So you actually have to pay $99 just for signing up for this development process. And then Shopify charges 15% commission, but like with an asterisk, they charge it only after $1 million of revenue that you get from your app. So this is kind of an easy barrier to enter, I guess, so that you can earn up to like $1 million a year before Shopify charges anything extra on top, which before that was actually no payment for entry, but I think it was 20% commission on your apps. So it was actually even a higher commission on everything. And basically, like you now you have to pay to sign up, and then when you actually get to submit the app, there's also a lot of requirements from Shopify side. Like you have to technically have a properly working app in terms of authentication, in terms of responding to requests to delete data, like GDPR, everything like compliant with that. So as soon as you submit the app, it first goes through some technical tests, and after like a day or two, you can get an email saying like these are the things that technically work not correctly, and by this time, actually no human actually sees your app. It's like it's just been technically reviewed, and if you fix everything, then it can go to the next phase where actually some Shopify testers would look into the app. They would see if it works according to the guidelines, and only after that they will allow to publish it. And Shopify is so basically like once installing the app, the app requests access to certain data from the merchant, and basically it shouldn't request too much data. So all these aspects are being checked before the app is going live. So with our app, this is something that we have yet to go through. I already had like this technical review, which I didn't pass, and that's why I'm trying to rebuild the app based on the latest CLI version of the app. So hopefully we'll go through that soon again.
Yeah, I understand you promised that in the next episode you have submitted it, so we can talk about it.
I have to do this. I actually got to the front page of the app working, like with styles, with scripts. Like now I'm like two steps forward, I think I have like a path in mind of how to fix everything.
Sounds good.
Nice.
So what? That's the episode.